I've been playing Cookierunkingdom for around 3 months now, and I'm so in love with the characters and the story. A friend of mine recommended the game to me, and now a whole friend group plays it. I was already somewhat interested in the game because of all the artwork and the characters I've seen. They all look so dynamic and interesting. The character designs are so detailed and diverse and so surprising considering that they're literally cookies. But I also didn't realise how in-depth the storyline goes, and that's pretty much what makes me want to keep playing this game. The main story is focused on 5 cookies called the Ancient Heroes, and each one has a unique personality and design. I really like them all, and I really wanted to draw them, so that's what I did. Okay, first we have, I think my favourite of the ancient cookies. This is a pure vanilla cookie. He is based off of basically vanilla, and more specifically, I believe vanilla ice cream, which you'll see the design elements come in a little bit later when I sketch them out. With these drawings, I wanted to draw the cookies as humans because that is what I am comfortable with and comfortable with drawing. And also I think it was just kind of fun to try and translate the designs into a human scale with the clothes and their body types and stuff like that. I think I like this one a lot more than I did with the other ones, but we'll get to those. We'll get to those ones. But yeah, so as you see, I am sketching this in an interesting way. I decided to sketch it and just kind of mold the line work out of the sketch that I'm doing because if you saw my previous video, I talked a lot about how I had a really terrible art block, and this was a little bit just before my art block, and I was getting somewhere. And then I forgot how I did this, and then I had the art block, and that's what happened. I think I'm over it now. I'm over it now, it's okay. But yeah, he, well, all of them, not just him, but I drew them all in a sort of a sculpting, quote-unquote, way, where I sketched it and just erased and moved stuff around, and I found that a lot easier for my style. I'm quite messy, I've noticed, when it comes to drawing. I'm not super clean and precise as some artists, which I am very envious of because they can make such beautifully clean, crisp drawings, and every time I try and do anything super clean, like clean line work, it always ends up feeling super stiff and it just doesn't feel right for me. So I think this is my kind of artwork. A little bit messy, a little bit rough around the edges, but I still think it works. I still like it. But yeah, a little bit about this character. As I said, this is Pure Vanilla Cookie, and he is the main. I think he's a healer of the group. He's the main healer of the group. He is, I believe, he's supposed to be like a cleric. In sort of, like D&D BG terms, and I believe he is heavily inspired of Jesus Christ, which feels weird to say considering it's a cookie, but he does have a background as being like a shepherd. And he is a healer, as I said. He's very religious in imagery. He's all about purity, and he's very kind. So it makes sense that he would be based off of Jesus. It's not just me that says that. I've only got this sort of idea from what I've seen in the fandom. I don't know if it was been officially said, but he does seem very... It seems like that's, the case. But yeah, his design, I really love his design. I think his cone hat is so cute. Like I said, he is based off vanilla ice cream and also the vanilla plant, as you can see with his staff. He's got the waffle cone hat, and he's also got a waffle sort of wafer thing around his shoulders. With his staff, I don't know what the eye is. The eye moves and it seems conscious. I'm not as deep into Cookie Run lore as some people are. If someone can explain to me what that eye is, and if it's like part of him or if it's like a separate being, please let me know. Because I know that Shadow Milk Cookie, who is the East counterpart to Pure Vanilla, has a lot of eye imagery in his design. I know there's something going on there, but I don't know what it is, and I'd love to know. So if you do know, please let me know. No, I said no a lot. Sorry. But yeah, so this is the. I'm just like going through the details, and I'm just, as I said, I was sculpting around like the line work and stuff. I really like his color palette. I think it's really nice and calming and warm. But yeah, I when I post him, I didn't mean for him to have his soul gem covered up. I think it's called a soul gem. But yeah, I didn't have the heart to change the pose because I really liked it. So it's there. You can see it. It's got a bit of blue under there, but it is there. Yeah, there's also like a design elements that you don't really think about when you're, you know, other than when you're drawing it and really scrutinizing the reference, but like you don't really pay much attention. And for example, like I completely forgot that he had that little diamond on his forehead, and also that he has heterochromia, which is, you know, two different coloured eyes, because he often has his eyes closed in his artwork and his sprites. So I wanted to draw his eyes open because I thought it would be nice to draw the two different coloured eyes. Yeah, I think he's great. Yeah, this is the drawing. So yeah, this is Pure Vanilla. I hope I did him justice. Next we have Hollyberry Cookie. Hollyberry Cookie is a defense cookie. She is a very sort of confident, passionate, energetic character. She's very different from Pure Vanilla, who I just drew. I wanted to include in all of these drawings the cookie's soul jams, and to include Hollyberry's soul jam, I had to include her shield because it is on her shield. She has got a very big shield, so I tried to include it in the drawing without covering her up too much. She has quite a large dress too, so it's like I don't want to draw the whole thing, so she's more of a stuck character. Yeah, I'm going around with the sort of sketching style that I said before, where I'm trying to like carve it out and stuff. I think, watching this back, I think I must have used a thinner pen than I did, like a thinner brush tip than I did with the previous drawing, because it looks a lot thinner in line work. I think that could be why it feels a little bit different, because when you look at them, you probably won't notice it, but me, who has drawn it, I do notice it, that this one feels a little bit different from the others, and I think it's because of the line work is slightly different, and it's because I drew this a little bit in between all of the others, so I kind of forgot how I was drawing them, I think. You can see here I'm trying to like figure out her face. I think I change it, I continuously change it, because I find it difficult to like be happy with it, but yeah, Hollyberry is a cookie who is a previous ruler. She isn't the current ruler of the Hollyberry Kingdom, which is a jungly, vibrant, hot kingdom that has a lot of characters that are part of her entourage that you see later on, and they all have this really nice berry, red berry, pink berry like colour scheme. So there's wild berry cookie, raspberry cookie, princess cookie, and yeah, so she has this nice colour scheme and I really like it. I like that even though she's based off of hollyberries, that she is still her own thing. She isn't like Christmassy is what I'm getting at, because when you associate hollyberries with anything, you sort of think Christmas time because they are heavily associated with Christmas. So having a character that is just based off hollyberries and doesn't look Christmassy, I think is quite impressive. They managed to design her in a way that doesn't make you think of Christmas time. I think because they decided to give her more of a pink colour scheme rather than a red colour scheme. I think if she was more heavily red and it had the red and the green, it would look more Christmassy. But because she is pink, it doesn't have that. And she also was girly and cute, and I like that. She is a older character. She is a grandmother, canonically. And I kind of wish that I drew her with a more mature look to her face. I think maybe if I draw these guys again, I will draw them in their, what's they called? They're like updated forms. And I have to wait for White Lilies to come out with Silent Soul in the new update when that happens, to draw them all together. But I think if I draw them again, I will try and make more of an effort to show her age a little bit in her design. Say that like she's ancient. Ancient! She is ancient! I don't mean ancient as in like old. They're ancient heroes, that's their names, but like... so stupid. But she's not like an old elderly woman, she's insinuated to just be a bit older, be a mature woman because she is a grandmother and she, you know, is an ancient hero, so it makes sense that all of the heroes have got a bit of a, you know, they're a bit older. I just feel like I made her maybe look a little bit too young in this drawing. But I still like it, of course. Yeah, so with this, with the background for this as well, which I haven't got to yet, obviously, but with the background, I tried to make it sort of replicate the backgrounds colour-wise of the game when you are in the Hollyberry Kingdom. So her background is quite bright and vibrant compared to the other characters, which I think really mimics her personality. She's very outgoing, she's super confident, she's like super humorous, she's very friendly. So I think she's very different from a lot of the characters in the Ancients, because most of them are quite sort of introverted and somewhat gloomy in their sort of way of speaking and their personality type, maybe with the exception of Golden Cheese Cookie, but we can get to her a bit later when we get to her. But yeah, so I saw a character design as like she's wearing some kind of like armor set on her torso. So when I shade that, you'll see I try to make it look kind of metallic, because I imagine that because if she's fighting a lot, she's gonna need some armor. So oh, here we go, I'm shading it now. But I did this on one layer, which I think is kind of stupid. I don't know, like when I draw stuff recently, I've been drawing, well, I say recently, I've been doing this quite a lot. I sometimes merge the layers together and I ended up just having one layer, and then I just decide like, oh, I'm just gonna do it all in one layer. And I could have probably done this so much quicker and easier if I just did some sort of layer magic where I just laid over the shading and the colouring on top of the torso part, and then like, you know, played around with the, you know, the sliders and stuff. But I was like, no, I'm just gonna paint it on the layer as is. I still think it turned out okay. Yeah, I probably could have done that in a much economical way. And yeah, I really like her design. I love her dress. I love these like gold bannery things that come off the sides of her dress. And I like that she has puff sleeves and gloves. She's quite covered up. I guess that's good if she's fighting a lot, you know, she wants to be protected. Yeah, so she's, you know, the, I think, ex-ruler of the kingdom. She is a very noble, very protective person. I think she also has a little bit of a drinking problem that's very heavily insinuated within the game. And I believe that is because she cares so much. She's constantly worried about the ones that she cares about and her kingdom and the people that she loves and her family. So, you know, she's puts on a brave face, but she is obviously also going through it a little bit. But that's part of why I love the story of Cookie Run. It has such sort of deep, interesting elements to the characters, and they really dive into, like, specifically these guys, like, why they do what they do and their own personal battles and things that they have to go through. And I think that's kind of, it's quite inspiring and it's quite nice to read about. It's so sort of different to a lot of other games and things that are similar to Cookierunkingdom. Yeah, so here she is Hollyberry Cookie. Is a lovely lady. I hope I did her justice. I think I did. But yeah, so here she is. Yeah. Okay, so now we have Dark Cacao Cookie. I think I did this one destroying probably the quickest, because he's mainly just shapes. Because he's got his big armor. He's got these crazy big diamond-shaped shoulder pad things. But I feel like, again, same with Hollyberry, I feel like if I did this again, I probably would have given him a better dynamic sort of pose. I really need to start thumbnailing, because I feel like I would have figured out a lot of issues and stuff with most of my artwork. If I start thumbnailing, I need to start doing that. Note to self. But anyway, yeah, this one was a lot quicker. I really just blocked in the paint and the colours and stuff really quick. His pose isn't super interesting either, it's just very simple, but I really wanted to try and get his armour down. Because I find armour quite difficult to draw, even though I really like armour. I think it's so cool. I'm really fascinated in like knights and stuff. But yeah, so Dark Cacao is the ruler of his own kingdom. I can't remember what it's called. I don't know if it's just called Dark Cacao Kingdom, but it's a very snowy area, and it's he's quite a depressed character. He's a bit of a recluse. He's very serious. He has a lot of sort of drama going on with his son that has sort of been separated from him and become, spoilers, become kind of evil. But he's going through a lot, and you can tell. He, again, like Hollyberry, he really cares about his subjects and his people, but he is easy to be, you know, corrupted, as you see in his story. But he, you know, gets over that. I'm trying to be as vague as possible, so people can still enjoy the story if they read it. But yeah, I really like his character. He's kind of silly in a weird way. He's one of those characters that they're so serious that when they do something silly, it's really funny. Like the munch 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 part in his Beast story. He also is again, he's just very stoic and mysterious, and he has that regal colour scheme. He's got that purple, which I think is really nice, that he has like a nice purpley pink colour scheme. He's a very masculine character. He is, I think he's very Korean focus in design. Not necessarily this character design, but in a lot of his subjects and his other outfits feel very Korean, traditionally Korean, and that makes sense because the game is Korean. So I think maybe if I draw him again, it would be nice to, you know, tap into that a little bit. But yeah, I don't have much else to say about this. It's mainly just like armor and trying to figure out the shapes and stuff. He's very stiff. He's got a lot of sharp edges. I guess that translates to his character. He's quite difficult to, from what I gather, he's quite difficult to kind of talk to, and he's very standoffish and sort of sharp and pointed in his opinions of things. But, you know, obviously he's a very lovely person and he does mean well, but he's just very he's going through a lot. That's all I can say. But yeah, this one's quite a quick one compared to the others. But yeah, this is him. This is Dark Cacao. Okay, so next we have Golden Cheese Cookie. I think Golden Cheese Cookie might be my second favourite of the Ancients. Maybe even favourite if, you know, think about it more, but can't not love your vanilla. Anyway, I love her concept and her design, and I love that she's very heavily based off ancient Egypt, and that they made the kingdom very technologically advanced. So the Golden Cheese Kingdom, she has a very modern sort of electronical, like computery technology, but also with a ancient Egyptian like aesthetic to it, and it's really cool and it's really like nice and dynamic, and they have this sort of tealy blue colouring that goes so nicely with the gold, and it works really well with the technology, which I sort of associate with teal, I guess, which is that Y2K kind of colour. But yeah, so she's a very greedy character. She talks about greed, and she says that greed as a positive thing because she's greedy for gold and riches, but also she cares so much about her kingdom and her subjects, and she loves them so much, and she wants to do the absolute best for them. And that's part of her greed, is that she is greedy for, you know, help her subjects. And I think that's such a nice sort of spin on the idea of greed. But yeah, so she is such a cool character design. I think she's so dynamic and interesting, and she has like, I used a lot of the referencing for her shading and stuff from her character art. I think I did a quite good job. I was like struggling a little bit like halfway through this, because this was actually the last drawing I did, and I was thinking like, oh, I don't know if I've got it the same style as I did the other ones in, but like I I was like struggling a little bit halfway through, but then I picked it up again and I remembered like how I was doing it, and I feel like it came out pretty good. Again, I did a little bit of the sculpting kind of thing, like I did with the others. I tried to, when I was drawing her face, I gave her these like inner corners to her eyes. Her eyes already, I made them quite almond shaped and quite sort of slanting downwards, or upwards depending on which direction you're thinking of, but like I realised that her eyes looked so long with these little tiny triangles like in the corner of her eye, so I had to remove those. Yeah, and when I was rendering her like gold sort of shoulder top part, I was trying to figure out how that would work, and I think I probably should have done a little bit of costume research before I did this. I mainly just drew, the only reference I really had for all these drawings was literally just their character art of them as cookies, and as I said, their cookies are very simplistic, and I probably should have went back and looked at some sort of actual costume pieces and like actual references of things, and then I could have figured out if I could have drawn them in any other kind of way to give them a bit more of a detail as a drawing. But I still think it looks fine. It like, you know, translates, you know, well enough. I just feel like it probably would have been quite stiff, you know, in movement if it's solid like metal, if she's, you know, going around with it. But I assume it's kind of like I don't know, thin and like easy to move around in. Yeah, so I drew her staff and tried to keep all of the elements there, because she has these massive wings, and I was like, I got a bit overwhelmed because I was like, wow, she's got these huge wings and she's got a staff as well. I didn't have to draw the staff, but I felt like I never see her without it, so I thought I'd do that. For the background, I wanted to make it kind of deserty. And again, it's all vibrant and shiny and bright, like gold. And yeah, so this is Golden Cheese. This is how I drew her. I think her character's great. Okay, last but not least, we have White Lily Cookie. I actually drew White Lily Cookie second out of all of these characters. I drew her kind of just after I drew Pure Vanilla, and so the art style kind of fits better between those two because I drew them quite close to each other. Again, as I said, I did the sculpting drawing style with this. White Lily Cookie is such a interesting character. She's probably the most, I don't know what the word is, like the most, I guess important character within this current story. Or just even the whole story of Cookierunkingdom. Her whole character is, she's desperate to find answers as to why the cookies exist and their meaning for their existence, and like where they came from and who made them. And without spoilers, I will say that she comes to something that is very disturbing and really, you know, makes her completely change, I will say. And it makes her character so... She's just so cool. She's so interesting. She's desperate to find knowledge and she regrets it immediately after. She's such a kind, sort of lovely character. Everyone seems to love her. She kind of, like, I guess, haunts the narrative. But she, as I said before with Pure Vanilla, she's a close friend of Pure Vanilla's and he really cares about her. And she has other characters that really care about her and they really see this, you know, magical energy to her that other people don't seem to have. She has this beautiful white lily staff, and she has a white lily in her hair. I find it interesting that she is based off white lilies, because I don't think, could be wrong, but I don't think lilies are edible. But it's interesting that that's her ingredient, quote unquote. She has her soul jam on her staff, so of course I had to add it, and she also just holds that staff, you know, most of the time. She is got such a lovely palette. I love the bluish green in her palette, and her like red, pink eyes that really pop out against green. I guess she's kind of almost got like an opposite palette to Hollyberry, which I think is kind of cool, where Hollyberry has the little tiny bits of green and like mostly pinkish red, and then White Lily has like the opposite. I really wanted to give her this sort of droopy, sad, kind of, you know, pensive look on her face, to, you know, add to her character. She's going through a lot. When you read the story, you find out that, you know, has a lot on her plate, and she's, you know, she's quite a troubled character. But I think that's why people want to help her even more, because they really care about her. And I just think she's such a pretty character, and her design is so nice. And I'm really excited to see what her form is. I think that's the word. I still can't remember what it is. I'll correct it in post. Yeah, I can't wait to see like the rest of her story when the Silent Soul update comes out. Silent Soul is her Beast counterpart, which hasn't been released yet. And the Beast characters, if you don't know, they're on a separate part of the story where they all have a kind of like the evil counterparts to all of the ancient cookies, and they're kind of like the opposite in personality and sort of morals to the ancients. So it would be nice to see how her story continues, and see what happens and stuff. I'm so curious, and I can't wait to find out. So I'll probably draw them all again when that comes out, when that's released, and also hopefully maybe if you'll like it, draw all the Beast cookies as well once Silent Soul is released. We do know what Silent Soul looks like. It's just I feel like I need to know them a bit better by reading the story and stuff before I actually draw them. Yeah, so again, trying to sketch this out in a sculpted way, I realised that I had flipped the drawing around and I drew the lily the wrong direction, so I flipped that over. Yeah, so I just kind of paint it and then I go over the lines again. That's me doing the soul jam. You want to call it the gem because it looks like a gem, but it's a jam. It's cookies. Yeah, so this is my White Lily cookie. I think I did her justice. I really like her. I really love her character and her design. I think she's so pretty. But yeah, here she is. So yeah, I hope you guys liked the video. I'm sorry it was quite rambly, but yeah, this was during sort of between the beginning and the end of my terrible art block that I had, which I talk about in my previous video. But I think I still, I did quite well. They turned out pretty good, and I just think I really wanted to just draw some Cookie Run characters because I've been really enjoying the game and I really like the story. So yeah, so here they are. Thanks for watching! Bye bye!